we're filling our time with other hobbies. My wife and I got into the One Piece trading card game
Mm.
recently, which is hell. I don't know if you're aware of what's happened to Pokemon lately. uh, I don't know if I'd say lately, but over the past few years, how scalpers have ruined the hobby
Hmm.
uh, with
Yeah.
card games, Pokemon being the biggest one. Actually, Logan Paul in particular started this huge wave of people chasing these expensive cards because a few years ago, might have been 5 years ago now, Logan Paul had this really big publicity thing where he had this super expensive Charizard that he tracked down and bought from this guy, and it became this big thing of, and it was already a thing where people would
Hmm.
get rare
Right.
cards, but
Yep.
this really launched a wave of no like buying up, going to Target and buying every box on the shelf, and then for thousands of dollars coming home and just opening them, seeing if you can pull, and literally throwing away cards that you don't want, and just seeing if you can pull the shiny Charizard or whatever
Hmm.
other rare card, and then selling it for a whole bunch. And
Yeah, unfortunately, that seems to be something that's going on with trading cards across the board. I've seen that
mhm.
with some of the sports cards as well.
Oh, okay. See, I'm not into sports cards, but this Saturday we are going to a card show in Gonzales,
Okay.
uh, and because it's $5 to get in, so like, sure, let's go check it out. I think we're only going to break our own hearts when we go there, and it's like crazy prices for all these things, but it's sports cards and it's Pokemon and it's One Piece and Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering is a weird one because that game is straight up pay to win. I played some Magic the Gathering with some friends recently trying to get into it, and they let me borrow some decks. And I was like, wait a minute, your deck just seems way better than mine. Like, oh yeah, well, I bought the deck that has the better cards. So it's just straight up pay to win.
Right.
So when you're playing amongst friends, many of them actually have a rule of you can use just printed cards on, like, you can just find the card online, print it on a sheet of paper, and that's the card for the deck for the sake of playing the game.
Yeah.
While if you go to like a tournament, though, it has to be an official card. But yeah, scalpers have
Well,
absolutely ruined Pokemon, and they're doing the same thing to One Piece. And we're trying to get into it because obviously she's a huge fan of One Piece. I've become a big fan of One Piece recently. She wanted to get into the card game. We went to the couple of stores around us. A lot of them. So if you go online official, and I don't know how to fix it, and I am simplifying this for the sake of conversation. Uh, there's the market price,
right.
which is what they tell you should sell it for,
Hmm.
and stores do not abide by that, and they can get in trouble if they get caught. But like, who's out here enforcing these rules? It's not like the company in Japan is sending out businessmen to each store to check what they got going on.
Right.
So it's just all a big wild west, and you got these people, these cards. So if you're a retailer, you buy a box full of booster packs, and what you're supposed to do is sell the booster packs. Well, what it turns out, and again, I'm simplifying this, and I don't know the whole story. If anybody's going to comment like, well, actually, it works like this. From my understanding, you sell the booster packs, but actually, it is more price efficient for the retailer to just sell a scalper a box for $500 because they're willing to pay it, and then boom, you give him that box, you get the $500, and the scalper goes, he opens up all the cards inside of it, finds the individual ones, and then he sells those individual cards for however much they're worth. Problems all around. I mean, the problem is also who the heck are buying these cards. That's what kind
Right.
of enables this to happen. You get people who actually just want to play the game, who will buy the crazy cards because it helps them actually play the game. You got people who buy the crazy cards because they're thinking that in 5 years it'll be worth even more. And you got people who buy it because they're genuine collectors and they're willing to pay whatever to get this special Tinkatuff card.
Yeah.
So that's Pokemon, at least. Same thing for One Piece has been going on. But anyway,
Yeah.
we're occupying our time with that, and
Well, I think
and
it's an
playing
interesting
cards.
conversation, and actually, there's a new collectibles store here in Natchez where, and they do a lot of Pokemon, Magic the Gathering. They hold a lot of
Mhm.
games there in the shop. I'm hoping they'll add some D&D stuff here
Hmm.
to their stuff. I was told they were, but the Matt, the guy that runs the shop, is supposed to be doing an episode with me at some point. So it'd be interesting if we could get you in here to talk some of that stuff with him. So
I would love to, and I'd love to hear his perspective. And I don't know, he might be like, yeah, that's right. I do sell the scalper prices, and here's why I do it, because it makes sense for me to put food on the table for my family.
but the
And I'm like,
thing
oh,
is, you
or
know
he
what
might
I
be a chill guy. I
well,
don't know.
what I admire about his shop at this juncture, now we'll see, like, is he making enough money? Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he's way more concerned with building a community around his shop than
That makes
just
sense.
making a buck, making the quick
Yeah.
buck. So I will be curious to see kind of where they go with their shop. I'm also really curious. I would love to get Robbie back in, and I know you play Dungeons and Dragons, and I've been wanting to play for a long time. And as you recall, we were supposed to do the Science Fictionary was supposed to do a campaign with Robbie
Hmm.
as our DM, and it just never worked out.
And
And
out.
so
Yeah.
I've never played. I really wanted to learn it as a player, but the kids are really after me to run a game, so I guess I'm going to learn it as a DM. But this thing that has happened is I got books, I got I had the DM's handbook and the
Hmm.
player
Hmm.
manual and all that. But recently, and I read all that, and I think I've got it. But I got the monster manual, and I got the it's like Worlds and Realms or whatever book.
Hmm.
I discovered something that I may have a problem, and that
Yeah.
the Tolkien part, the Tolkien loving part of my brain is really excited about soaking up all that lore. And I've just been reading the monster manual and reading about the different
Yeah.
worlds and realms. And so I'm going to have to do something with all that knowledge. So I guess I'm going to run a game for the kids. And then maybe one day we'll, get a game night going for the science fiction area. I'd still love for that to be a thing.
It's in the dream. I'd love to do it. I'd love to come down to your house and run a game with
Yeah.
y'all. It's all that'd be fun. And then also if we could, yeah, I'd love to do a game. Now there's a great online tool. It's called Roll 20
Hmm.
that me and my friends use to play online. That I actually think makes for a pretty interesting video format if we had our live streams up, and then also just recording uh, the tabletop online simulator that is going on as we all play together online. That is an
Yeah.
option. Do it just online over chat, or also, yeah, it would be cool if we all got together and did a game night. D&D, I actually haven't played in a while. Everyone's just so busy,
Right. It
and
takes time, but I was noticing some stuff, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds on it tonight because I didn't get a chance to really dig into it. But it looks like the people that are, it looks like the Wizards of the Coast
yep,
is really doing some iffy things with their like the D&D Beyond content where they're wanting to start doing, pay to play seasons like video games do and stuff like that.
yeah,
And that's wild to me because it's like, yes, your company, specifically Gygax, had a huge, created, had a huge role in building tabletop gaming to what it is. But I guess what surprises me and shocks me is that they think that they think that the players need them to play.
yeah. It's I think we talked about this a little bit in our Fan Expo review,
Hmm.
where because we talked about how like Fan Expo needs to remember that like we don't need them, and then also like I think it got into because all the D&D vendors we were talking about like we don't need you or any of this stuff, and that's a great point to point out. It's like we don't need Wizards of the Coast, and like they have done D&D Beyond in particular has done a great job getting new fans into it.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
great. I love using D&D Beyond to build characters, but they did start they are so I believe this is how it works. Where it used to be, if you like bought the book, you could, if you bought the book physically, you could register it in your D&D Beyond account, and then also get
Correct.
access to
Yeah.
content. I don't believe that's the case anymore.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's you have to purchase it like DLC. Like you're right, they're treating it like a video game. Like D&D Beyond itself is a video game, and you have to purchase the DLC. And now they want to do this seasons format where like they're going to roll out. It's like, oh, do you want access to this new class on your D&D characters? And it's like, I could just like look online of what that class is and just get the stats and write it down on the sheet of paper. I encourage people to play with sheet and paper in front of them, not and I've gotten a lot of new people into D&D. I've DM'd a lot of games for new people. I've played a lot with new DMs, and I always encourage people, write it down on a piece of paper. D&D is a great tool to help you get started. D&D Beyond is a great tool to help you get started, make your first couple characters on there. After you kind of get the hang of it and understand the process a little bit better, grab the book. You can borrow mine and do it on paper.
Yeah.
And come up with it. I also say, I'm like, hey, talk to your DM. You don't got to follow these rules strictly. Like, oh, you want your character to be somebody who does this very specific thing and it doesn't really fit any of the classes. It's like, well, let's work together and see what we can make happen. And maybe we can go in and say, oh, well, you want that special feat that you're not supposed to have access to until level 10. Well, but it fits your character to have it. Well, let's make a compromise where you lose this many stat points or whatever. Like, you don't have to play by their rules necessarily.
Right.
And we don't need you Wizards of the Coast. And also, there's plenty of fan-made campaigns.
Well, that's the thing. There's so much material out there.
Yeah.
At your fingers, so many YouTube videos. And I mean, at the end of the day, you need some dice and your imagination and some friends. And you can play. And so it's
loose leaf paper helps.
Yeah.
And really, yeah, you're exactly right. Like the dice, you need some dice. I can't think of anything. You do need some dice. That's the only thing that I can think of. You have to purchase.
Yeah,
is some dice. And then at least somebody who knows the rules. Now, of course, it's great to have a company producing books, official good books, and when they put out
absolutely
books, they're of high quality, much better quality than you're going to get from a random online who made up his own campaign and posted it for free. And it's great to have new content, new classes and backgrounds and races and everything. But you're also right that like there's so much material that it could sustain us for 100 years without us ever having to make a new one.
Right. I guess, it's one of those things. It's like it's just looking at it from a business standpoint. It's like if you get too greedy, someone's just going to step in and fill the void.
Yeah, and there are.
It's like look at baseball. I mean, you just went to a Savannah Bananas game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. Like, look what they've done. Baseball got greedy. Major League Baseball has become insanely greedy.
Yeah,
and the Savannah Bananas or the Banana Ball League is selling out the largest venues in the country multiple days in a row sometimes, and their whole mission is fan first.
Yeah, and I got really, I didn't know anything about Banana Ball. I didn't know. I mean, I've seen the TikToks, but I didn't care. And then my mother-in-law was like, "Hey, I won the little lottery where you get to buy tickets for Banana Ball. They're at the Superdome. Let's go." I'm like, "Okay, great." So we go, and I have a really, really great time. It was super fun. And the whole time you walk in, they're like, the show starts. Like they're like, the game doesn't start till 3. The game doesn't start till 3:30. The show started at 2. And it's a show every second. It's about entertainment and it's about fans first and it's about and they're doing all these charities and stuff like that. And they bring out multiple fans onto the field for multiple different segments and things like that. A really awesome moment. We were in New Orleans in the Superdome where the New Orleans Saints play. They brought out Drew Brees, New Orleans Saints legend. That was super awesome. The crowd went insane. 70,000 people, by the way, in the Superdome. So you're right. Like they're selling out the biggest things in the world, and their whole thing is fan first. And they only started playing. The Banana Ball League started 6 years ago. It's absolutely insane growth. So so I started listening to podcasts of this guy Jesse Cole who made it, and I'm like, this guy's a freaking genius. And what's his whole thing? It's
Yeah.
fans first. And
And
I've been
his
thinking
whole
about this
thing,
because
his whole
you,
thing is exactly what Walt Disney built Disney World to be.
yes, yeah, exactly. And what these companies did, and to bring it back to the D&D, there are dozens of new tabletop games that are getting more and more popular.
Yeah.
D&D esque games, role playing games that are getting very very popular that are that can easily take the throne in a
Yeah.
few years if things get too bad or too rough. Also, you got to remember, like a lot of people, Stranger Things got a lot of people into the hobby.
It did.
And Stranger Things really, really boosted D&D's notoriety. The fans could easily just stop and just do something else. You know,
Yeah.
there's a million hobbies that to do right now. I'm discovering I just got into Pokemon, like
Right.
playing the games. Never played Pokemon before in my life, and now I'm like, oh my god, I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours worth of stuff to do now that I can
Yeah.
do. And by the way, because Nintendo's a greedy freaking company, and any game they put on the Switch, they never lower the price for. So even though, Let's Go Pikachu came out at this point almost 10 years ago,
Right.
uh, it's still like a full price game on the Switch. I'm not going to buy it, but you know what? There's a lot of emulators online to play the much better classic Pokemon games because
Yeah.
they never remade. Now finally they ported over Fire Red and Leaf Green, which were remakes of the original. So they made the original, and then in like the early 2000s, they remake the original and call it Fire Red and Leaf Green. And those are considered like some of the best. Finally, now 20 years later, they have ported that onto the Switch, so you can play it on the Switch. So that's why I'm
Okay.
like, I'll give that a try. Cool, I'll give it a try, and it's only $20 to get it. So
Okay.
it's like, here's an example of Nintendo for once not being the most greedy company you've ever heard of in your life. And now Pokemon has blown up. It's everywhere on social media. People are playing Fire Red and Leaf Green for the first time, like me, and are getting into it. And I'm honestly probably about to give Nintendo a lot of money on Pokemon stuff because they were like, here's an entry way to get into it. Now it's still greedy that I don't know if you know how Pokemon works. It's 2 games.
Okay.
And the idea is that each game, every time they release a game, they release 2 versions. Like you have Red and Blue, Gold and Silver, Ruby and Pearl, or Ruby and Sapphire,
Okay.
Scarlet and Violet. And the idea is that each game has a few Pokemon that are exclusive to that game.
Gotcha. I knew about the different colors, but I
Yeah.
had no idea what it was about.
So you have to so what me and my wife did is she got Leaf Green, I got Fire Red. And so when she goes and catches her Sandshrew, she caught 2 so she could send me 1 in the trading system.
Mm.
But the idea is, it's like from the very beginning, the first Pokemon game, they were like, how about we release 2? They were doing that from the beginning, Red and Blue. Let's
Okay.
release 2 of them, so you have to buy 2 copies of the game in order to get every Pokemon. So they're extremely greedy. But anyway, my point was, there's a million things to do. I could leave D&D and I would miss it, but me and my friends have been playing a lot of other games together to fill our time that kind of are scratching still the same itch. They're really into Magic the Gathering,
Mhm.
which is scratching that fantasy itch.
Yeah.
We're all really into Pokemon. We're all been playing a lot of some multiplayer games that are RPGs that are scratch. So yeah, companies need to realize that there's options. So you do
Yep.
fan first. Banana Ball did that, and hopefully Wizards of the Coast does that. And also, fans are these companies' only resource.
100%.
And you have to keep making new ones, because if they're thinking long term as a company, 100 years from now, we're all going to be dead. Everyone watching this video, 100 years from now, we're probably going to be dead. So then what are these companies that are still around going to do? They need new fans.
Hey there, sci-fi fans. We hope you enjoyed this clip from a previous live stream of the Science Fictionary podcast. We hope you'll go check out other episodes. We hope you'll hit that like and that subscribe button. And please go check out all of our friends over at the Red 5 Network. And as always, may the Force be with you.